final 25-22 in OT as we send you to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton.
Well, a thriller in Toronto, and here in Edmonton, Ricky Ray directed a 7-play, 75-yard touchdown march to open the game. First opening drive points for the Eskimos all season long. They lead 7-0, have the football back, and Jamaica Rector has a catch, but let's have a look at the touchdown scored by Fred Stamps.
Something the Edmonton Eskimos have not been able to do all year, and that's get points on their opening drive, but not so tonight. Ricky Ray gets things going. Kamau Peterson over the middle. He gets on the run outside. Fred Stamps on a little curl. Then he goes back over the middle until this play. Nice move by Fred Stamps in a one-on-one on Ronnie Amati for the opening points of this game. And finally, the Edmonton Eskimos score on their first possession, and they keep this drive alive right there with another first down.
So Ray out of the gate in impressive fashion, and another first down at midfield.
What else is impressive for Edmonton is that it looks like their intensity level slightly higher than the Calgary Stampeders. It was opposite on Labor Day.
Stampeders' first possession did not result in a first down. Eskimos have run the football once, and Archie Whitlock ran for a first down over 10 yards. Now the hitch, inside it goes, and Jamaica Rector another catch. There's the middle linebacker, Tim Johnson. The starting quarterback's brought to you by Wendy's Baconator, the official hamburger of the CFL. It's way delicious. It's Wendy's.
Two of the big three in the Canadian Football League, Henry Burris, Ricky Ray, and of course Anthony Calvillo, and boy, the numbers are very close. Henry Burris at 26.09, Ray 26.72 coming in. Look at their touchdown to interception ratio, almost identical. And remember, back on August 13th, the shootout between these two quarterbacks was an awesome game.
2nd and 7, flag down, and the play does not get off. Never ceases to amaze how 96 hours later.
Procedure, Edmonton number 56. 5-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
Patrick Kabongo flinches, but 4 days later, they just wiped the slate clean, and whatever happened, it was domination for Calgary, and Richie Hall the first to admit it. And tonight, completely different start.
I asked Richie Hall if he felt that his team lost the game in the trenches, and he said, Glenn, that is probably the grossest understatement of the season. We were dominated in the trenches. John Huffnagel's team won the game on Labor Day right on the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 12. 3-man rush. Look downfield for Stamps, and Wes Lysak had a shot at an interception and couldn't reel it in. But a stop for the defense, and the punt team on for Edmonton.
You know, there's a reason that games in football are played a week apart, generally speaking. This is one of the few times that it's just 3 or 4 days between games. And where Labor Day is all about intensity and execution, this game is more about survival and sort of the last man standing, because these teams are beat up, they're banged up, the rivalry is here, and they have to go at it.
Some suggestion Noel Prefontaine might not play tonight. He is in, gets the kick inside the 15, and the cover team downfield in a hurry, led by the Wolverine, Mike Maurer. Wendy's CFL on TSN Friday Night Football is brought to you in part by Wendy's Baconator, the official hamburger of the CFL. It's way delicious. It's Wendy's. And by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right since 1939. Winner takes first place in the CFL West, at least until the Banjo Bowl Sunday. Here's Henry Burris with a run. It eluded a few tacklers to get up to the 28-yard line and close to a first down.
Well, only one change offensively for the Calgary Stampeders in the starting lineup. They'll have Burris and Reynolds in the backfield. Reynolds over 100 yards on Labor Day. The one change is in the receiving core with Jackie Chambers in there for Jermaine Jackson as the 5th receiver. And then when you go to the offensive line, it is exactly the same as that one that played on Monday and dominated on Monday.
Starting lineups are brought to you by Nissan, fan and proud sponsor of the CFL. John Huffnagel looking for a 3-game win streak. It would be the first of the year for that unit. Their average start on Monday was the 38-yard line. There was a big field position edge for the Stamps. And it all goes back to that domination in the trenches. Joffrey Reynolds with the fake, and Burris throwing a completion. And there's Ryan Thelwell, who has really filled in the breach with the injury to Kenyon Rambo.
26 catches coming into the game tonight. Over 400 yards on the roll. It's Maurice Lloyd in chase on Henry Burris. He's back in the lineup.
Back-to-back first downs for the Stamps. From the 39, play action fake, and there's a attempt for Nick Lewis, and they are going to mark it as a catch at the 48-yard line. Eskimos defenders felt that ball hit the ground, and Nick's telling them that that was a piece of cake for him.
Oh, it was close enough. We have to show it again here to just, for one, to see if he did hang on, allow the coaches to take a look from both teams if Richie Hall would choose to challenge this play or not, but it looked like Nick Lewis did get his hands on that and keep it away from the turf.
97th consecutive game with a catch for number 82. Second and short, and Reynolds not much, but should have enough.
Big difference already, and the Edmonton defensive line was embarrassed on Monday. Dario Romero had his game face on for this one. Expect a much better effort from that front four. I mentioned Maurice Lloyd. He is back in the middle of the linebacking core. And there's the secondary, the same secondary that played on Labor Day.
So Mo Lloyd in the middle. We should see Rod Davis, who played middle linebacker Monday in their 3-4 alignment. Reynolds with enough for a first down for Calgary at the 50. And now Burris on the quarterback option, and he'll scamper outside and run for another first down. Henry Burris, the leading rusher among quarterbacks, had 41 on Monday.
Great play fake here from Henry Burris to pull the linebacker Maurice Lloyd right here. Watch how Lloyd is going to get sucked into this side of the formation. Maurice Lloyd is the one guy who could probably scrape outside and contain Burris, but he goes with the play fake, and that allows Henry Burris to get out and around the edge. You know one thing, that Maurice Lloyd wants to arrive and try and eliminate Joffrey Reynolds. So he's going to react to Reynolds quickly.
Missed 3 games with a hamstring injury. Another fake to Reynolds, and over the top, Teo Johnson is punished by Elliot Richardson as the ball falls incomplete. And there is a flag on the field.
Flag on the field was up in that offside holding area, not deep where Richards made the hit.
Legal contact on a receiver. Edmonton number 44. It's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
So Mark Rastelli, the Will linebacker, got his hands on a receiver.
He was covering Teo Jackson down the seam, and he must have grabbed the jersey as he was releasing from the line of scrimmage. There they are right there as they go down the field, and I think just prior to that shot and that look there, he had his hands on the jersey of Teo Johnson. That's why it's illegal contact. The ball wasn't in the air.
Another first down. Reynolds off the right side. And he's brought down quickly, and there is Maurice Lloyd. Joffrey Reynolds ran wild on Monday, 116 yards and 174 from scrimmage against that Eskimo defense that didn't have number 47.
Yeah, he's fired up. And what the Edmonton Eskimos want from Maurice Lloyd, not only is that run-stopping ability, but they want his leadership ability. He's a guy that gets fired up, and he's been talking over these last 4 days about one person, Joffrey Reynolds.
Reynolds with 3, 2nd and 7. Burris time, a let ball, tipped intended for Nick Lewis. And Kai Ellis dropped back to make the knockdown.
Yes, he did, and he's up in the line of scrimmage, and look how deep he gets in his drop as Kai Ellis changes things up defensively, drops into pass coverage, and look at the reaction. Boy, is that ever nice for a defensive coordinator to have a player like Kai Ellis, who's a rush end, but can drop into pass coverage.
Third knockdown of the year. Sandro DeAngelis has the best field goal percentage. Trying to get Calgary on the board from 44 out. Only missed 2 all year, and now 25 of 27. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by Sport Check. Sport Check, the power of sport. What a night in the Alberta capital. Weather ideal for football. And a great start. The Eskimos with an opening drive touchdown. And the Stampeders now with a field goal to get within 4. Archie Whitlock on the return. Up to the 34-yard line.
Starting quarterback Ricky Ray leading this Edmonton offense with Archie Whitlock in the backfield. There's the receiving core. Fred Stamps, just 52 yards and 4 catches on Labor Day. They want to get the ball to him as often as they can. He already has a touchdown here tonight. In the offensive line with Joe McGrath and Calvin Armstrong at tackles.
On Labor Day, 287 yards passing, only 53 running the football. Whitlock's first carry was for a first down, but nothing doing that time as the Calgary defense slams the door.
Well, they've made a couple of changes to start to shore up the run game here on the defensive side for the Calgary Stampeders. One of those changes is Devon Claybrooks in the starting lineup. Malik Jackson, who started the season as a defensive lineman, is a starter in the linebacking core. Tim Johnson in his 3rd game. And there is the secondary with John Eubanks now in a few games in that secondary, replacing Devonzo Tate, who started the year.
And it'll be interesting to watch the Stamps defensive ends tonight with Charleston Hughes now on the roster. Anxious to get in, and there's a play. Ball loose. Who's got it? Eskimos get back on it. Oh wait, Kyle Koch looked like he had it. And who ends up with the football?
Well, I think Dwayne Carpenter was hurt on the play. It looked like Devon Claybrooks had a chance at it. They did, or did he get it?
I think Koch had it long enough when the whistle blew.
That was the hit that Dwayne Carpenter took. He was the first one there. Boy, did that sneak out. Devon Claybrooks almost looked like he got it at the end of that.
Officials rule that the whistle
they did,
blown.
yeah.
Penalty marker as Prefontaine sails this over the head of Ryan. Back to his 16. Rod Davis, enough cloth to pull him down. But there are flags littering Commonwealth Field. 66-yard boot for Prefontaine. And again, Derek Schiavone was practicing this week as if Prefontaine might not be able to go. And it looks like too many men on the field for Calgary. And they'll take that 66-yard boot.
Yeah, Prefontaine struggled on Labor Day. Was 0 for 2 in the field goal department.
Too many men. Calgary. That penalty's declined. First down, Calgary.
Under 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter here at Commonwealth. Maurice Lloyd back in the heart of the Eskimo defense with more. Jermaine Franklin.
Thanks, Chris. Maurice Lloyd missed the last 3 games with hamstring problems, and he said the toughest game by far to watch was Monday's Labor Day Classic, where Joffrey Reynolds and the entire Stampeders offense tore up his Eskimo defense for 200 yards rushing, and there was nothing Lloyd could do about it. So the Eskimos middle linebacker promised that he'd be much involved today with lots of things to say to Joffrey Reynolds in between the A and B gaps. Lloyd guaranteed that he would stop Joffrey Reynolds, and if he did, he always gets up to do that because he proves that he can stop any running back in the league if he does stop Joffrey Reynolds.
Well, we've seen it tonight, but not on that play as Reynolds rips up 8.
At 116 yards rushing by himself. Joffrey, Jermaine mentioned the 200 yards as a team. By the way, the A gaps, as he mentioned, are in here between the center and the guards, and the B gaps are between guards and tackles.
2nd and 2. Fake to Reynolds, and the quick hitter out of the reach of Ryan Thelwell, incomplete. And when you play linebacker in Edmonton, you've got a wealth of knowledge to tap into and inspiration plus.
This was prior to kickoff, and Dan Kepley with the inspirational speech to his middle linebacker. Now it's about you. You have to set the tone and set the pace. And there's a good thing there's not a spare helmet and shoulder pads anywhere near that sideline, or you know he'd go and grab it and put it on.
He keeps joking. He's got 5 plays left in him. They're just not consecutive plays anymore. Tristan Jackson from his 23. Broke through the first tackle and up to the 30-yard line. And a little jostling there as John Cornish wants to mix it up. Boy, the cover team for Calgary was fired up and dominant as well on Monday, and things are looking more and more like the Battle of Alberta.
Let's go back to that opening drive one more time. Just take another look at what was a real nice one-on-one route from Fred Stamps and a perfect throw from Ricky Ray, as this is the drive and the touchdown that opened the scoring on the first drive of the game offensively for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Stamps with just 4 catches and 52 yards on Monday. Lowest totals for him in 5 weeks. Ray now on a roll, and he finds an open man. Andrew Nowacki has his 2nd catch of the night and a first down up across the 45.
You know, the Calgary Stampeders last year as the Grey Cup champions, and early on this year, Chris Jones' defense has always been about man-to-man, up in your face, bump and run coverage, except for Labor Day, except for when he's playing Ricky Ray and the Edmonton Eskimos. He'll drop into more zones. They don't have Brandon Browner in the lineup defensively. That's one reason, but he also has tremendous respect for the one-on-one route running ability of the Edmonton receiving corps and Ricky Ray at QB.
Whitlock right side, and Whitlock busts through for another first down. It's a couple of first down romps for Archie Whitlock in this opening quarter, and we're through 15 minutes in Edmonton. First quarter stats are brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
First quarter stats are pretty close, although you'd have to give the edge to the Edmonton Eskimos in that intangible, the intensity intangible. It was all Calgary on Labor Day, but clearly the Edmonton Eskimos were embarrassed by that performance, especially down in the trenches, and they've come to play tonight.
And it's a good sign for Eskimo fans when you score on the first possession. Unbelievably, the first half of the year, no points on any first possession all season.
Well, what they did is they won the line of scrimmage during that first drive and allowed Ricky Ray some time. He got Fred Stamps in behind coverage for the touchdown throw. So a good start for Edmonton. They have the edge in that intensity category. Now they just have to see if they can maintain it, and we'll see if the Calgary Stampeders slowly try and match it.
15-yard run for Archie Whitlock. Held to just 36 yards on the ground on 10 carries on Monday. Ray Stamps underneath, and not much there. And there is Keon Raymond on the corner.
There's only 4 days in between games, but a lot happening here in the Edmonton Eskimos organization. Richie Hall fired Rick Warman as his offensive coordinator and moved Kevin Strasser, who was an offensive assistant hired about a month ago, to the offensive coordinator position. So we will see a slightly different style of play calling when it comes to the offense. Kevin Strasser wants to mix it up.
Said different, same playbook, different play calling. And while we were showing you Kevin Strasser, there was a little mix up. Jim Davis, a former Eskimo, Calvin Armstrong had the helmet removed, and Glenn Johnson sorting up penalties.
Unnecessary roughness penalties after the play. Number 99, Calgary, and number 59 on Edmonton. It's going to be second down at the end of the play. Second down.
It's a good job by Glenn Johnson. I like that call. And things like that, and plays like that, you get in a little scrap or a fight, give both sides the penalties and have them offsetting. Let the guys go to the bench, cool down for a second, and then play some ball.
So Davis to the sidelines. A former Eskimo is a forced fumble in this game. He was the man that knocked it loose on the Ricky Ray fumble. Short gain for Stamps. 2nd and 7, Edmonton at the Calgary 45. And Ray looks to the sidelines, and that's out of the reach of the intended target, Andrew Nowacki.
Calgary Stampeders have been better on first down and better against the run defensively since the addition of Tim Johnson at middle linebacker. Here's a guy who spent time in the National Football League in Baltimore, was a teammate of Ray Lewis, and he's all about run stopping. What a difference he has made. And Chris Jones has also moved Malik Jackson, as I mentioned earlier, into the linebacking core. They add Jim Davis, they add Devon Claybrooks, and all of a sudden the run defense looks pretty darn good.
Wind should not be a huge factor here tonight. The Eskimos feeling that a 52-yarder out of Prefontain's range at this point. And so he comes on to punt, looking to pin Calgary. And Glenn Johnson meeting with Noel Thorpe.
And Chris, you haven't seen many long field goal attempts in the league this year. They're just too good of returners in the league to take that gamble. And there's one of them. Tremendous speed. Calgary Stampeders, Titus Ryan.
Titus Ryan 4th in punt returns on the year. End over end football that bounces down to Ryan, who misplayed it. That ball loose, and the Eskimos are on it, but there is a no yards penalty as Ryan mishandled it, but there were Eskimos within that 5-yard restraining area.
Yeah, as long as no one touched it on the first bounce, it looked like the Edmonton Eskimos were way too close, and just as Ryan touched it, it was knocked out of his hands. Is it Bobby Keys? There's the touch, and you could see.
No yards. Edmonton number 35. 5-yard penalty. First down Calgary.
So Bobby Keys, who had the first Edmonton interception of the year, thought he had a defensive touchdown. Not to be.
Myrna Jazowski of Lloydminster. You could win a 2009 Nissan Rogue SL of a kickoff return for a touchdown in tonight's game. Thanks to Safeway's Touchdown to Win promotion, and if another kickoff is returned, you could win $1 million.
Thank you, David. Early here in the second quarter. Stampeder football at their 15 after the 5-yard no yards call, and there's Brett Ralph with a catch, and he's punished as he gets up to the 34-yard line.
You know, you mentioned that it was closer than it looked. This is Titus Ryan when he touched the ball. And remember, the 5-yard zone on a punt is all the way around the returner. This is actually a lot closer when you look back at it and freeze it than I thought initially, as Bobby Keys was very close to being 5 yards away, and then he closed in a hurry.
18 for Brett Ralph. Burris has Ralph again and misses him by a step. Well, the halfway point of the year, we have a special award. It's the Sedin Sibling Award. Could you believe through 9 games, the Ralph brothers had identical stats?
And when both were asked about them, which is, it's eerie. It's eerie that they are bang on identical at this point in the season coming in. And when they were asked, they said, we'd like the numbers to be bigger and identical.
So Brock, you're down by 18 going into Sunday, and maybe more, but here's an interception. Rod Davis with the pick. And he'll bring it back down to the 12, and Henry Burris has to make the tackle. 4th interception of the year for the Eskimos.
Tremendous disguise by Rod Davis, who is still going to play, as you mentioned earlier, Chris, in their 34 look. Davis is right here, and what he will do is drop after he shows in the line of scrimmage. In fact, he crosses over Mark Rastelli, who I'm sure Henry Burris thought was the linebacker that was supposed to drop in that area. When he didn't see 44, he thought he had an open zone, but he didn't, and didn't see Rod Davis.
One of the reasons why the Eskimos felt Kitwana Jones was expendable, Rod Davis moves into that spot. Henry Burris throws his 8th interception of the year, and the Eskimos look for points off the turnover. Ricky Ray, Mike Maurer with his first catch of the year. Shannon James will jolt him out at the 5.
The Eskimos can change some things here. In that first drive we talked about, they scored in the first drive for the first time all season. This is another area that they haven't been very successful at, and that's points off turnovers. In the last 6 games, they have not scored 1 point off a turnover. Maybe
haven't had much practice.
Yeah, and maybe Kevin Strasser changes that.
So Mike Maurer has his first catch, a 7-yard pickup. It's 2nd and 3. And it's Whitlock, and he is stopped, and there is Tim Johnson, the run stopper, who has changed the look of this Calgary defense.
I'll tell you what, all the young linebackers watching this game, I'm going to arrow him out here. There he is, number 0. There's the guy. He's got to stop. Let's just watch some football. That's how you stop the run.
14 tackles in his first 2 Calgary Stampeder starts.
Great acceleration in the hole when he explodes into that tackle.
2 yards to go, Johnson out, and the offense stays out for Edmonton. They're going for it, and they need 2. Ray pumps. Anybody home? There it is, touchdown, Jamaica Rector.
The Stamps go with 3-man pressure, and when they do, Ricky Ray understands he has time to extend the play. There are the pressure guys for the Calgary Stampeders. Now here they come, and Ricky Ray realizes he's got lots of time, so he's going to move himself around, move in the pocket, and finds Jamaica Rector. Big gamble early on here.
And Jamaica Rector, his first CFL touchdown. 3rd and 2, the Eskimos go, and it pays off. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Molson Canadian. This is our beer. Well, the Eskimos just doubled their points off turnovers on the season with the Jamaica Rector touchdown after the Rod Davis interception.
Good news for Richie Hall in what was a gutsy call on 3rd and 2. Conventional thinking says take the field goal, take the points.
All day. I come to shock the world when I'm here. That's what we do. And I'm shocking the world right now. 8-5 all day. Let's go.
Jamaica Rector shows you the Eskimos are a little more fired up than they were on Monday. Titus Ryan across the 35, and he'll be pulled down close to the 40-yard line. Mark Rastelli on the special team tackle.
Well, Jamaica Rector is enjoying his 3-yard touchdown, and right now Ricky Ray had, I thought he was going to run right about there, but Devon Claybrooks kind of filled that gap, but he also knew he has that pocket presence. He knew he had time because of the 3-man rush. Basically outnumbered that pass rush by 3, so he just moved around until Rector got open.
Back on me. I'm back. Action.
Treat watching these quarterbacks. Ray moving into a tie with Henry Burris for the touchdown lead with 14, and number 1 can do this. biggest run of the year for Henry Burris. Down to the Edmonton 40 and out untouched.
This is the one thing that Henry Burris brings to the table more so than the other two in the big three, and I'm talking about Ricky Ray and Anthony Calvillo when you look at his rushing numbers, because this is the one thing that Henry Burris really has the advantage. He can break down a defense running the football, and throughout his career when he's had to come back and answer a drive, he's often taken off with the ball and run with it.
30-yard run for Burris. That's his best of the year. They fake the toss. He looks a little deeper. And wide open is Thelwell. Kelly Malvo there. And Thelwell brought down at the 13-yard line. The veteran Thelwell with more yards this season than all of 2008.
Go ahead and run it. Here comes Henry Burris on the play action and out to the outside. I'm going to get you to freeze it, guys, right here. Whoa, 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 there. You see Kelly Malvo here. Kelly Malvo in the screen gets held up because he thought Henry Burris was going to run like he did on the previous drive. That's why Thelwell's open.
30-yard run by Burris, 29 to Thelwell. Stamps in business, looking to the end zone. Touchdown, Ryan Thelwell. And we may be in for another shootout at Commonwealth.
What an answer from Henry Burris. He throws the interception. The turnover turns into a touchdown for the Edmonton Eskimos. But like water off a duck's back, he gets rid of that one. Runs on first down to start the series and then finds Thelwell back-to-back catches. That for the touchdown.
We got number time, baby. We got number time.
First touchdown of the year for the London native, Ryan Thelwell. The point after from DeAngelis. 14-10. Green and gold. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by Sport Check. Sport Check, the power of sport.
That one's for you, boy. Happy birthday, 81.
9-year veteran Ryan Thelwell, his first touchdown in 2009.
Keep your head up, baby. We're going to get this dub, man. We're bringing this back with you.
FaceTime for Nick Lewis as well. And Tristan Jackson from his 11. Up to the 29.
Henry Burris recognizes a matchup that he likes. There's Ryan Thelwell right there, and he's going to get matched up one-on-one on TJ Hill, number 18 for the Edmonton Eskimos. He comes across the middle on that post pattern. Henry Burris just puts enough air on it to get it up over the corner. Jason Goss, who was trying to help his linebacker, but that's a matchup that Burris will go to every time. His wide receiver one-on-one on a linebacker.
And a hug for an Eskimo fan, so it's not necessarily the uncivil war here. Just after Ricky Ray had tied Henry Burris with the league lead, there's a drop for Maurice Mann, who was the most reliable receiver for Edmonton on Monday with 8 catches and 87 yards.
Yeah, he's got 22 catches in his last 3 games, averaging just over 7 catches per game. He just took a peek there. A little fundamental football, he let that fundamental drop. He's got to watch it in first and then run with it. But he's been very reliable over the last 3 games.
And in both against
the
Stamps, he's been a factor, as those numbers will attest. So Ray with 14 touchdown passes on the year, and as soon as he pulled into a tie, Henry Burris back in front with number 15 to Thelwell, 2nd and 10. Time running out, and down goes Ray, and he is sacked by the former Eskimo, Jim Davis, who's made an impact here in the first half in his 2nd game for Calgary.
Just straight push from Jim Davis, as he just is relentless on his pursuit of Ricky Ray there. He gets a big push from the middle of the field as Davis comes out of his stance with Devon Claybrooks. Claybrooks really occupies the attention of 3 offensive linemen and allows Davis off the edge to get there.
Stampeders without a sack on Monday. despite their domination at the line of scrimmage. Prefontaine sails this, and Ryan lets it hit the turf, and it'll bounce out. Prefontaine's having a good night after struggling on Labor Day. Big boot that has no return. 55 yards for Noel Prefontaine.
What an answer from Henry Burris. And an ability to just shake off a bad throw and interception that turned into a touchdown against. Came out and ran on first down. Then he found Thelwell a couple of times. This was to extend the drive and get him into the scoring zone. And then that matchup, Thelwell one-on-one on TJ Hill. So complete composure from Henry Burris to shake off the bad play and put together a great drive.
Eskimos blitz, but Burris gets it away, and Nick Lewis the catch with Mo Lloyd on his back.
Tremendous confidence here from Henry Burris to trust Nick Lewis, because there were a lot of defenders around number 82 as he caught this football. You take a look over here, and I counted, look this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 Edmonton Eskimos surrounding Nick Lewis. And Henry Burris, confidence in his arm strength and his receiver.
First down, John Cornish in the game. And he stood up and punished. As the Eskimos get a shot in on him, Eric Taylor standing off.
You know, the three quarterbacks, the three veterans in the league, when you take a look at their numbers, are so close, except for when you get to this category, and that's the rush category, where Henry Burris is the leader among quarterbacks running the football. It's that extra weapon that he brings to the table. You know, Ricky Ray, underrated as a runner a little bit, and so is Anthony Calvillo, but neither one of those two match the running ability of Henry Burris.
79 in the Grey Cup win last November. And falling on the play was Chambers, and that ball falls incomplete. Jason Goss in coverage, and the newcomer Chambers, who's been on the practice roster for 4 weeks, introduced to the footing here at Commonwealth.
You know, when you look at those three quarterbacks, Chris, I mean, these are the numbers coming in, and you could see, you know, Calvillo, you know, you love that completion percentage, and you got to give him the edge right now as the best quarterback in the league because of his record. But you see the touchdown passes for both Ray and Burris. Burris at 15, Ray now up there as well. So they're so close there. But then when you add the rush yards and the 300 now for Henry Burris, you could make an argument he's the best.
Three quarterbacks started the weekend within 63 yards of each other passing-wise. Tristan Jackson breaks a tackle, breaks through. And Burke Dales has to wrestle him down at the 39, and that'll get a reaction from the green and gold.
This is the Battle of Alberta.
Yep, the old Tier 2 enforcer, Tier 2 hockey enforcer Burke Dales, right in the middle of it, not shying away.
This was what was a little surprising about Labor Day. Was the intensity for Calgary was there, but the pushback wasn't from the Edmonton Eskimos. Calgary dominated in all three phases, including the teams, while Tristan Jackson obviously didn't like that because he's back.
Just 17 yards on punt returns Monday, and that's what the Eskimos didn't like, and that drew a crowd.
We have offsetting major fouls after the play. Calgary number 56, Edmonton number 93. Be first down Edmonton at the point, the ball was dead.
And I think, you know, when you look at that replay, Burke Dales may have caught a bit of a break there because, you know, an aggressive tackle you can let go, but he also tried to give him a little shot to the head there as he got up right there. And you could be easily called for that one, unnecessary roughness, and then you got to go offsetting for this stuff afterwards. But, you know, I think Burke Dales may have dodged a bullet there in a penalty.
Out of all that, Randy Chevrier and Kai Ellis got called, and there's a big run for Archie Whitlock. That's the third time tonight He has run on 1st and 10 and moved the chains.
Well, one for Archie Whitlock, and we saw the one down near the goal line for Tim Johnson. So once again, this matchup between two good players is interesting, and it's all tied up. A nice move to cut back against the grain, pick up first down yardage.
First half last Monday, 5 carries, 3 yards. Tonight, 5 carries, 41 yards. And a first down at the Edmonton 52. Little pump and go. Jump ball, and a flag does fly. Dwight Anderson all over Maurice Mann. And we'll find out if it's Anderson or Mann getting called.
Well, definitely contact. There's Maurice Mann right there. Little stop and go route for him. Now, at this point,
interference. Calgary number 33. First down at the point of the foul.
Anderson enraged, and he's gone after the official.
they better be careful there.
Don Ellis, the back judge, and Milton Collins has to break things up. And does he have a case?
Well, you know what? He went through Maurice Mann. You can make an argument that this is a good call. I know he's upset because he's in pretty good position here. No penalty yet. And he turns back and looks. You know, his argument right now is, Anderson's argument is that Mann pulled him into him.
Turns out to be a 33-yard penalty against 33. Whitlock gets away! And close to another first down. Different number 36 tonight. He's been Marquis Whitlock tonight.
And he's hanging on to the football and securing it first. He's got 2 hands around it when he hits the line of scrimmage, turns his back to absorb the blow, and then is able to bounce outside. The only time he's really got in trouble is when he's been careless with the football. That was the first game against Montreal and then Labor Day.
Did run for 106 here at Commonwealth August 13th against Calgary. So that has flipped decisively since Monday in Calgary, the rushing stats so far.
Interesting to see what Kevin Strasser does here, because he's got a bit of a waist down there, just short there of the first down, which means it's 2nd and inches. Do they just slam it in there and take that safe first down, or can they go play action and want to go over top? Kevin Strasser said he likes to change things up and not be predictable at all when it comes to especially first down calls, but certainly situations like this.
So a free down, and get a sense of how much of a gambler Kevin Strasser is here.
They've already gone on 3rd and 2 once, remember.
From the Calgary 16. They will throw. Kamal Peterson, it's intercepted. The intended receiver, Kamal Peterson, and it's instead John Eubanks with his first CFL interception. Big turnover for the Stamps defense.
He wants to be aggressive, and he was aggressive in the play call here. There's Ricky Ray. You don't see this very often, folks, and that's just a poor throw. The accuracy was not there from Ray. It was a little bit behind Kamal Peterson and a little bit too high, and intercepted. I was going to say it was close to touching the ground, but John Eubanks, his first pick of the season.
And the Stampeders lead the Canadian Football League in points off turnovers with 105. Eskimos got a touchdown off their interception. There's the blitz picked up. Burris in trouble, and he'll throw it away and get to the original line of scrimmage to avoid the sack.
Henry Burris wanted to go to the screen, and Teo Jackson looked like he came across the formation here and was possibly a screen guy or possibly Joffrey Reynolds. But when Burris saw that this play was not going to work because Edmonton reacted, he pump fakes there. And look at how the Edmonton defenders go to try and stop that screen. That bought him some time, and then he just throws it away to avoid the loss.
Second and 10. flags and some early movement. And did the Stampeders move first?
Of course, I called him Teo Jackson. It's Teo Johnson.
We have Jacksons and Johnsons aplenty.
Yes.
Procedure, Calgary number 64. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Jeff Pilon, the veteran, in his 10th year with the Flinch. And that brings us to the 3-minute warning. Already more excitement in the rematch Friday than we saw on Labor Day, and so there's plenty to talk about. Rona at the half with Dave, Jock, Matt, and Schultze. We've got lots to dissect, and more on that Argo win that finally ends the home drought.
And the Battle of Alberta includes the cheerleaders.
Second and 15. Burris steps up, takes off, and then Mark Costelli comes up with a tackle that forces the Stampeders into a kicking situation.
Like there was a chance for Henry Burris to take off and run here. It looked like he had a little bit of an opening there and some yardage, but watch how quickly the Edmonton Eskimos will start to close, and that one cut to the outside got him in trouble a little bit, and the Calgary Stampeders will have to punt now. I think Burke Dales will be standing real close to his goal line, but there's absolutely no wind, and I guarantee you last year until the rule change, Calgary would have been giving up a safety here.
Tristan Jackson awaits just on the Eskimos side of midfield. Great boot by Dales. Look at this. Driving him back to the 35. And the covered team downfield in a hurry, led by Twain Carpenter, Mark Caliste. That's a 58-yard boot. And a little more evidence for not conceding the safety.
Absolutely, and Mark Caliste involved again on Tristan Jackson. What a game he had on Labor Day. Tristan Jackson has come back. Mark Caliste had 4 special teams tackles on Monday.
Only Jeff Pilon has been with the Stampeders longer than the veteran special teams man. Ricky Ray hands it off. And Archie Whitlock again has had most of his success to the right side so far tonight. Not much there. By the way, a milestone Ricky Ray will not be celebrating. That was the 100th interception of his distinguished 7-year career.
Well, I say the big 3, but even the best quarterbacks in the game throw the odd interception. We've seen Henry Burris with one here tonight. We've seen Ricky Ray now with one.
Dunnigan never did, though, did he?
I think he threw a couple. I remember getting a couple, as a matter of fact.
Second and 6 from the 41, and Ray calls quarterback draw. Well, if Henry Burris can do it, and Ricky Ray up to the 54 has a first down.
And you know, we may see more of this from Ricky Ray, and this looks like an offensive adjustment to me, because Ray, who's in the middle of your screen here, Ricky Ray is going to notice again 3-man pressure from the Calgary Stampeders. So automatic lane for him, and he didn't hesitate long before he tucked it under his arm and took off.
At 52 against Chris Jones's defense in August. Just 5 carries for 17 yards on Labor Day. 12-yard run sets up an Eskimo first down, and that ball slipped out of his hand. And Jim Davis up with it, and it is Calgary football. What happened there? Ricky Ray lost the handle.
Yeah, and we have to take a look here to see if his arm was moving forward, but I don't think he's arguing, and I don't think it was. Ricky Ray just lost the handle, as you mentioned, Chris. As it was going up in the air, that arm was not in the forward motion, so that won't be ruled or overturned. That's a fumble and a Calgary football.
What a first half for Jim Davis, a sack, a forced fumble, and now he has a fumble recovery. The Eskimos squandered a chance deep, gave it up, and now 2 turnovers, but there's a big play by Eric Taylor. Tossing Burris back at the 53.
Yep. Nice little stunt from the Edmonton defense as Eric Taylor is going to start in that B gap. And he starts right in here, and then he will take that little move this way, and he comes clean. As he switches with the middle linebacker and comes clean through Main Street on Henry Burris, who has no chance.
Loss of 8. Might have moved Calgary out of field goal range.
Whoa.
Oops, Dario Romero out of the starting blocks too quick. And that might be the only time he smiles tonight.
Boy, did he have his game face on tonight.
Offside, Edmonton number 94. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
That's one guy who did not like what happened on Monday.
Oh, he said he took it personally.
Both the offensive and defensive lines here, Chris, for the Eskimos have played way better tonight than they did on Monday.
Rod Davis in, Romero out, the 3 down linemen, and Burris loads it up downfield. And just out of the reach of Jackie Chambers, but a marker on the play. And Lenny Williams now claiming innocence.
Well, Lenny Williams was trying to catch up, and I'm not sure if he doesn't grab the arm of Chambers right there and armbar him just as the ball is arriving and get a
Pass
good look.
interference, Edmonton number 9. First down at the point of the foul.
Folks, the crowd hates it here at Commonwealth, obviously, but that's pass interference. Lenny Williams coming down the sideline. He can run and try and scramble, make a little bit of contact, but you can't stop the arm movement of the receiver before the ball arrives. So the timing just a bit off for Lenny Williams, and he draws the flag.
And a 42-yard penalty gives Calgary a 1st and goal at the Edmonton 6. Copeland was in motion to the goal line, and it's a touchdown for Jermaine Copeland. His 10th of the year and the 70th of his career.
And he's had a few like this play. He starts in the backfield, and Copeland's going to come out of the backfield and run his out route. There he is right there, and he's going to go down, push to the outside, get good position, and now Henry Burris just has to lead him to the sideline. Perfect throw and catch. Number 10 for the league leader.
First catch of the night. Now 6 touchdowns in the last 3.5 games. First lead of the night for Calgary. Point after from DeAngelis. 62 seconds left here in the first half. Calgary has the lead after a couple of Edmonton mistakes.
Well, the PI call on Lenny Williams gets him down here, and there's Jermaine Copeland. Often on the goal line, you get man-to-man defense. And it's Lenny Williams again that he gets position on. And that's really what this pattern is all about. It's about timing on the throw from Henry Burris and whether or not you can keep that outside leverage from the receiver spot, and Copeland is perfect on it.
Well, he's out in front. 4th time in his career he has had 10 touchdowns or more. His best was back in 2003 with Montreal when he had 14 touchdowns.
Keeps him on pace for 18. The CFL record is 23 by our very own Milt Stiegel.
Oh, yeah. They both stayed back, and I broke it off. Okay.
So the Eskimos had the lead. They had the ball deep in Calgary territory. Ricky Ray threw the interception. They get the ball back, and he fumbles. And now the Stampeders have their first lead of the night.
And Copeland continues to eat up the Calgary secondary.
Another great Tristan Jackson return up to the 40-yard line. Well,
that Edmonton secondary knows a lot of Jermaine Copeland. Let's go back to Monday.
Copeland's catch tonight was nice. This was sick.
Doesn't get any better than that one.
In fact, Jermaine said the sickest catch of the year. Those are his words.
Yeah. had the practice roster getting pretty excited.
Spectacular stuff. And
I'm on the camera next.
7th straight game against the Edmonton Eskimos where Jermaine Copeland has had a touchdown. He's got 7 in the last 7.
Shannon James off the edge. Ray got it away in time and Stamps with a catch. Ronnie Amati there to make the quick tackle. And 49 seconds on the clock. The Eskimos have some time to get points on the board and maybe head to the locker room tied.
It would be important points because they have lost all momentum after the 2 turnovers.
2nd and 4. Ray has time again underneath the crosser, and losing his footing was Jamaica Rector, who has an Edmonton touchdown tonight. That forces 3rd down, and the punt team has to come on.
I know a lot of Edmonton fans are looking for Ricky Ray to go down the field more often, but against this defense and the way that Chris Jones is playing him right now, it's almost impossible for him to do that. Just 3-man pressure. They're dropping 9 into coverage, and they're forcing Ray to be patient with the ball.
I mentioned the punt team had to come on, but Richie Hall waited a bit. He thought about 3rd and 2. But Noel Prefontaine is on the field with the clock winding down. Titus Ryan is dropped at the 26, and we have 4 seconds remaining in this opening half. It's been an interesting half, and you're right, the momentum for much of it in Edmonton's favor, and here's Calgary going to leave at the half with the lead.
Well, just 2 turnovers that really turned it. You know, the interception from Ricky Ray and then the fumble. 1 pass interference call on Lenny Williams. Copeland's in the end zone. Calgary has the lead. Commonwealth is all of a sudden gone silent.
And Burris will take the 4 seconds off the clock, knee down, and they'll head to the locker room. Good first half at Commonwealth, and the Stamps have the lead.
Hold on to your seat.
It's TSN on Friday night.
It's showtime.
TSN is the exclusive broadcaster of the Labor Day rematch and proud home of the Grey Cup. Got a good one going tonight at Commonwealth. 17-14, Calgary with the lead, and Jermaine Franklin with Edmonton coach Richie Hall.
Coach Hall, a much better half of football than on Monday night. How do you guys build on that in the second half?
Well, the first thing, we just got to take care of the football. You know, keep playing the spirit of the game, keep playing physical, and just take care of the little things. I liked the first half. You know, like you said, it was a different first half than the other day, and we just got to continue just to work hard.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Eliminating the turnovers key, and that was when the game's momentum changed. When Ricky Ray threw the interception, had an open Kamal Peterson down near the end zone, and missed him. That was John Eubank's pick, and then the fumble.
Eskimos have not won the turnover battle in any game this season. Titus Ryan starts things off in the second half, a return across the 30. Let's compare the numbers of these 2 great quarterbacks.
You can see they're fairly close through the air. A couple of drop passes, and the one thing that Henry Burris has brought to the table and did on a big drive was his rushing yards.
56 for Burris in the first half, and a dozen for Ricky Ray. So the Stamps had the momentum at the end of the first half. Let's see if that continues on. Joffrey Reynolds trying to get untracked and runs into Greg Peach, who's had a good rookie season at defensive end for the Eskimos.
That's one area of an improvement from Monday for the Edmonton Eskimos is their run defense. Joffrey Reynolds really had his way with the Edmonton defense on Labor Day, but they played a lot better after a half here against him.
You know, not high sack totals for those two defensive ends in Edmonton, but Peach and Ellis have combined for 63 tackles. Kai Ellis actually leads his team in tackles. Don't often see that from a defensive end. Flag down, and a pass over the middle, a bullet to Nick Lewis.
You know, and a lot of people are talking about the Edmonton defense right now in that their head coach is a former defensive coordinator in Richie Hall, but this is really Jim Daly's defense. And Jim Daly is going to use some of the things that Richie Hall used in Saskatchewan and combine it with some of the things that he's used in the past, and Richie Hall will let him coach the defense.
Offside, Edmonton number 90. That penalty's declined. First down, Calgary.
Just as we mentioned, Greg Peach. The Eskimos, by the way, the least penalized team in the league coming in, 61.5 yards per game. They had more than that in the first half.
And Jim Daly was the man who hired Richie Hall as a defensive coordinator in Saskatchewan.
First and 10, and back to Lewis out of his hands, and Kelly Malvo has the interception. And Malvo's still going, and now hits the deck at the 30. But the Eskimos with an early turnover here in the second half.
Big interception for Kelly Malvo right here. It's not even his man. The intended receiver is Nick Lewis, and he's running the out route, but Kelly Malvo, as he's breaking towards his guy, takes advantage of the old tip drill. Goes off the hand of Nick Lewis, and then he breaks back across the grain. Not really sure why he would hook slide there. He might have picked up a couple extra, but he did turn the ball over.
So interceptions in consecutive games for Kelly Malvo, 5th of the year for the Eskimos, and into the hands of Archie Whitlock. Straight ahead and pulled down by Malik Jackson.
Well, the Edmonton Eskimos went quite some time without getting their first interception.
They had the 78th interception of the year. That was their first.
Yeah. And since then, in the last few games, they've had one in the last 3, at least one.
So 5 in the last 3 games, and Kelly Malvo has 2 of those. And the Eskimos look at 2nd and 6. Ray rolls, sideline pass, and that's out of the reach of Maurice Mann.
This sort of illustrates the downside of full roll by the quarterback. And I like when offensive coordinators move the quarterback around. They roll him out sometimes. You're going to see Ricky Ray this time going to go full roll this way. When he does, he's really cut the field right in half, and he will only have, when he gets over here, 2 potential targets, and both are fairly well covered, one being Maurice Mann.
So Prefontaine, who missed 2 on Monday, comes in looking to tie the score from 33 yards out. And Prefontaine puts it through. Well, the CFL on TSN continues Sunday with a big doubleheader of action. Game 1, the BC Lions take on the Alouettes, who will be fired up. And in Game 2, both the Rough Riders and the Blue Bombers will be in Banjo Bowl mode. Live coverage begins at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific.
A fairly convincing win for Saskatchewan on Labor Day weekend on the Sunday game, but it's always a different story when they travel to Winnipeg for the rematch.
We will not be seeing Baron Simpson.
No. He's been bothered by a turf toe, and he's been practicing on it. He's going to not be in the lineup in the starting defense, and talk is he has an issue with that. He's looking to be possibly traded from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, so we'll see what happens there.
So the Eskimos have 10 points off turnovers tonight. 7 in all of the first half of the season. And they're back on even terms, all square here early in the third quarter. Titus Ryan right along the sidelines and is pulled down on a good tackle by Jason Nugent. Here's a great cause, retro jersey online auction in support of the Eskimo Women's Dinner for the fight against ovarian cancer. Bidding has already begun. Go to ticketmaster.ca/Eskimo auction for your chance to win. Fans with 10 days to bid on game-worn jerseys from players including Dario Romero, Archie Whitlock, and Ricky Ray. Mrs. Ray is sporting number 15, and to purchase tickets for the dinner, call 780-448-ESKS.
Yeah, Ricky got pulled into a meeting. So Allison filled in.
Much better.
Filled in well.
And this play stopped.
Procedure, Calgary number 62. 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
Left guard Jesse Newman.
And, you know, I mentioned the dominant performance in the trenches by the Calgary Stampeders offensive line and defensive line. In particular, that left side, Jesse Newman and Ben Archibald played very, very well and allowed Joffrey Reynolds to rack up 116 yards. It's been different tonight, though.
First and 15, Eskimos showing blitz. Mo Lloyd right up there. He'll drop off. Thelwell crossing. Burris holding. And now goes downfield, and that one almost intercepted. Busted up by the corner, Bobby Keys.
Bobby Keys was underneath. You're absolutely right. Look at all the players for the Edmonton Eskimos up on the line of scrimmage, and then they'll drop out. So they're disguising that they're going to blitz and dropping into coverage. Burris buys a little time, but he forces it into that zone, and there's a couple of defenders that have a pretty good crack at it, one being Bobby Keys, also has an interception on the season.
And did get through to Kelly Malvo, almost had back-to-back picks. Second and 15. And Burris over the middle, and this is intercepted. TJ Hill tosses the ball Lloyd, and Lloyd is rumbling. Down to the 5. He'll be caught from behind. 3 interceptions on the night for Edmonton.
TJ Hill, who usually lines up as a linebacker up here, this time gets deep in coverage. And the intended target on the outside is Jackie Chambers, who is jammed up by Kelly Malvo. That gives TJ Hill a second. He gets in there, gets it, and then pitches it off to Maurice Lloyd.
So the Eskimos with a season high 3 interceptions. And they go to work, first and goal on the 7. Big rush, and Ray had to throw it away, and there is a marker in the end zone.
And Calgary fans, while there's a flag here, we'll sort that out. Calgary fans might be wondering if that was pass interference on Kelly Malvo on Jackie Chambers. He is right up on the top of your screen here. You are allowed to protect your area as a defensive back if the receiver is attacking it, as long as you're square and the ball's not in the air. That's a clean hit and not a penalty on Kelly Malvo, and that allows TJ Hill to jump in.
Contact on a receiver, Calgary. So go up half the distance to the goal, and it's a first down.
Well, Glenn Johnson doesn't give us a number in the end zone, but that'll take it half the distance to the goal line. And
what doesn't hurt yardage-wise all that much for the Calgary Stampeders, but does reset the downs for the Edmonton Eskimos. So it'll be back to first down and goal.
Tied at 17. The Eskimos with a touchdown would have 17 points off turnovers on the night if they can break through. Whitlock down to the 1. Ball popped loose. And the ruling he was down but did not cross the plane.
Was he down? That looked very close as to whether or not he was down by contact or did the ball come out before he went to the turf. Let's take another look at it. The officials were right on it and blew their whistles quickly. No, he was down by contact before the ball came out. It was when his right arm with the ball in it hit the ground as he spun around that the ball was knocked out of there. He's down there, and then the ball comes out.
For a moment, you saw the Stamps coaches looking at the scoreboard. There it is. Matt Bertrand, touchdown. What a bull rush from Matt Bertrand, stopped in his tracks for a moment by Tim Johnson. But Bertrand hits pay dirt.
Richie Hall said they just got to be better. Mano a mano, man on man. In this play, Tim Johnson steps up in that hole, and Bertrand doesn't quit.
First touchdown of the year. Matthew Bertrand, 243 pounds. The former Laval quarterback. Point after from Prefontaine. And Edmonton back on top. Wendy's Kick for a Million is back. You have a chance to be one of 4 to go head-to-head to qualify for the live halftime show. Enter at tsn.ca/Wendy's and upsize your Wendy's combo and get a game card to get bonus entries.
The way this one's going, it may end in a field goal to win it.
We've got ourselves a football game tonight, the Labor Day rematch. Titus Ryan. Good return. And he'll be brought down up across the 35-yard line.
You know the term smash mouth? Smash mouth football. Go up and hit him in the mouth. Here you go. Smash mouth football.
That's one good collision.
Really is. And Tim Johnson steps in the hole. Bertrand gets hit. First contact, about 1.5 yards short of that goal line, but keeps the legs moving and falls in.
Henry Burris back to work. 3 picks tonight, matching a season high for him. And he'll pull this down and get brought down. TJ Hill, the tackle at the 39-yard line. We'll give him 4.
A couple of layers over the middle. Nick Lewis and Teo Johnson wanted to run those crossing routes, but they have to be in different layers. One coming underneath here and one in Nick Lewis coming over the top. Watch what happens to them as they run this route. Teo Johnson here bubbles a little too deep. Now there's confusion. They run into each other. That's where Henry Burris wanted to go and couldn't.
Stamps have been outscored 10-0 here in the third quarter. Looking at 2nd and 6. And Burris airs it out, and it's too far for the intended target, Jermaine Copeland.
Elliot Richardson has learned from watching the film of number 80 against his football team, because the safety was over there quickly to help out on that deep route.
Well, an old defensive back told me that interceptions come in bunches, and after a long Edmonton drought, they have 3 tonight and 5 in their last 3 games.
Prefer that you called me a mature defensive back rather than old, but okay.
You resemble that remark. Tristan Jackson trying to get outside. Can he turn the corner? Well, Dwayne Carpenter there after he got slowed up and still got away. Unbelievable. Are you kidding me? And finally tripped up by Ronnie Amati.
How did he get out of there? I thought Wes Lysak slowed him down enough as he was trying to get the edge.
38 special.
There's Lysak, 31. He got a piece of him. I thought that would be enough. And somehow, between Dwayne Carpenter and Mark Kalist, who was dynamite on Monday, Tristan Jackson gets out of there.
Little Houdini act. And he does not step out. Sure, the Calgary spotters booth was looking at that. 70 yards for Tristan Jackson. And now they will challenge. So maybe somebody in that spotters booth saw something we didn't.
Yeah, I didn't see him, but there was at one point in one of the shots, he was blocked. The camera was blocked a little bit. So I don't blame John Huffnagel for wanting to take a look at this. This is a big play, a big return, and it completely flops the field in Edmonton's favor. Let's take another look and see if he does step out of bounds.
Calgary is challenging the ruling on the field. They believe the player stepped out of bounds. We'll review the play.
That's the one that was blocked there, one step, but I don't think it was, because that was the left foot. Remember, the play stands as the gain from Tristan Jackson and has to be overturned now.
This angle might be more revealing. I don't think so.
Inbounds there. I don't think so.
In fact, it looks like he has a little despair. One more chop step there might, but certainly nothing definitive. Ran through the shoe tackle of John Cornish.
This might be the best of all of them. No, he's in bounds.
This gives us a chance to admire the return a little bit more. 61 return yards all of Labor Day Monday, and 70 on one of the best returns you'll ever see.
Tristan Jackson used up so much energy getting out of that bunch that you could see at the end of the return he was starting to lean back. As that piano jumped on his back.
The player did not step out of bounds. Play stands.
But it was truly amazing how Jackson was able to stay in bounds. He had very little room down that sideline. And he's going to admire it on the replay clock here at Commonwealth Stadium. Yeah, there I am. And then this is what I did. That's the best part about making a big play in a game. You get to tell all your teammates about it right after.
Well, is there anybody better in Montreal? They'll say Larry Taylor, but there's not many in the argument. And Ricky Ray wants 7, and Kamal Peterson doesn't bring it in. A missed opportunity with a wide open Kamal Peterson.
Was it ever? Was it ever? Because a busted coverage. It looked like Wes Lysak, the safety, was just out of your screen at the bottom of the picture, got caught up looking the opposite direction, and is way, way late. Kamal Peterson straight down the seam. You don't get much more wide open than that.
That would have been a 14-point lead. Instead, 2nd and 10. Guns that one almost intercepted. John Eubanks was poaching and almost had his second of the night.
Well, the Stamps dropped into a zone, and you're right. Eubanks was sitting outside in that zone, just reading the throwing motion and the eyes of Ricky Ray. He's going to sit outside, drop, and sit on that inside out route from Kamal Peterson. He gets a good jump on it, and the only thing he doesn't do is catch it.
So Prefontaine out, as the Eskimos have to settle for a 3-point attempt from 33 out, same spot that he hit from earlier. And he has hit again, and it's a 10-point Edmonton lead, 13 points here in the third quarter.
Well, it's Friday night, and it's time for our salute to the Canadian Forces troops, and this time Master Corporal Donovan Ball is in the building here at Commonwealth Stadium. 3rd Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry out of CFB Edmonton. And Corporal Donovan Ball was awarded the Medal of Bravery for his life-saving actions last year in an ambush by Taliban insurgents during his 2nd deployment to Afghanistan. Canadian hero We're all tremendously proud of his dedication, leadership, and valor.
What a moment at halftime. A standing ovation from the Commonwealth crowd. And well-deserved. Prefontaine with a kickoff that bounces out. And so Calgary will scrimmage at their 45.
And it's that much more important, Chris, as
Legal
we make
kickoff,
that.
Edmonton number 7. First down Calgary in the 45.
As we salute our troops, as we do every Friday night. But tonight, of course, September 11th, 8 years after September 11th, 2001 and 9/11. So once again, we certainly thank our Canadian Forces troops for everything that they do.
Play fake to Joffrey Reynolds, and Henry Burris gutting it downfield. And he's got a man, Jermaine Copeland. Touchdown tonight, now a big reception. Copeland's second catch of the evening.
I talked to Henry Burris about going on the one-on-one matchup to Jermaine Copeland, and he said, you know, I have the chemistry with Copeland where I don't care that he's covered, because he has told me early on in the process that if there's a defensive back on me, just throw it to the other shoulder, and I'll come up with the catch. And that time, Copeland was well covered on the inside shoulder. Burris put it on the outside shoulder, and Copeland came up with the catch.
Just like the big one-hander on Labor Day Monday. Now the crowd trying to disrupt things. Rush on! Burris down! Dario Romero gets home.
Oh, does he ever. And this is a bull rush for the ages. Romero's right here, and watch what he does to Jesse Newman. He gets out of his stance, gets Newman on roller skates, and it's good night.
There weren't quotes from the Calgary players, but it was written in a Calgary paper that the defensive line was owned on Monday, and Dario Romero took that personally. Loss of 12, second and 22. And the hitch to Jackie Chambers, and Greg Peach came across. Chambers gets back close to the original line of scrimmage.
Edmonton Eskimos all up in the line, but they'll make this play through sheer effort and pursuit. You can see him going across the board here, all the way across. It's right at the line of scrimmage, but Burris has the right play call to get it out there, but watch the pursuit. Those green jerseys just fly over. Every one of those guys that was on the line ends up being there in time to make the tackle and hold them short. Well short.
So under 4.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. And DeAngelis on to try and get it back within a touchdown and provide the first Stampeder points of the second half. From 30 yards out. And Sandro delivers. And it is a 7-point Edmonton lead. Let's join Jermaine Franklin.
Thanks, Chris. Kevin Strasser admitted that he was in a bit of a tough spot, having so little time to adjust in his new position as offensive coordinator. But he also said the one positive and something he'll always get up for is facing Chris Jones, the defensive coordinator of the Stamps. You see, Strasser and Jones coached together for 5 years in Montreal and became good friends. But you can bet this friendly but intense competition has bragging rights on the line.
Both with such impressive track records in this league.
In the press conference, Chris Jones was asked, what do you think about facing Kevin Strasser again, your old buddy? He said Kevin Strasser can kiss, and I won't repeat the rest, but the bottom line is when they get out there on the field, they're battling and then be friends later on.
Well, this one is far from done. And although the Eskimos are ahead by 7, it's almost as if they have squandered more opportunities that could come back to haunt them here.
They have, but it's that kind of game. Who gets the ball last?
Archie Whitlock, little stutter step and up to the 33. Gang tackled there.
Mention it. Edmonton Eskimos, a couple of picks. Rod Davis early on turned into the Jamaica Rector touchdown. And there's TJ Hill, little pitch to Maurice Lloyd. Matthew Bertrand scores off that turnover.
Eskimos with only 3 interceptions coming into the game, 3 tonight. And finally, they start cashing some points on those turnovers. Whitlock straight ahead and tripped up at the 39.
Well, almost the presence of Tim Johnson causes Archie Whitlock to go down there. Footing a little bit different here when you get the natural grass at Commonwealth Stadium, but Tim Johnson here, he's going to line up right in the hole. And when he does, you see number 30 in the middle of your screen, or 0 in the middle of your screen, he steps over. And Whitlock goes down.
So 2nd and 5, big rush on, and the pass falls short of Fred Stamps as the heat gets turned up on Ricky Ray. Shannon James with the blitz.
Right at the top of your line, Shannon James. Off the edge is unblocked, so Ricky Ray understands that, has to get the ball out of his hands in a hurry. Sometimes picking up the blitz is a responsibility of the quarterback.
Prefontaine, a line drive bouncer. Fielded at the 32, and Titus Ryan doesn't have any real estate. Steps out. Well, for every sack in tonight's game, Purolator donates the quarterback's weight in food to a local food bank. Purolator, where business is going. And it was Tackle Hunger Day, the last home game in Edmonton. 63,000 pounds of food brought in by Edmonton fans.
And this is a tight race. This is one of the closer competitions that I've seen when we've done this over the last few years.
Sacks 2 apiece tonight. Jim Davis has both for Calgary. Eric Taylor and Dario Romero for Edmonton, and an Eskimo has gone down on the play.
Dario Romero was my favorite, one of my favorites of the season. That bull rush on Jesse Newman was something else.
Well, there's no question he is the heartbeat of that defense, a former Miami Dolphin. And a reminder that Sunday Night Football back TSN as you covered all season long. This Sunday, the Chicago Bears take on the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. Live coverage, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Classic matchup.
Will continue to receive the same search experiences that they are accustomed to while supporting Eskimos and earning merchandise for themselves. Check it out. It's My Eskimos.
Dario Romero has really set the tone. I mean, he and Mo Lloyd have brought a different level of intensity to this defense that really has trickled down to the entire team.
Playing on a short week and then a little bit of a break. Eskimos don't play again until the following Sunday in Saskatchewan, so a week this Sunday. So Mike Maurer makes his way off, and we can get back to some football. Calgary's next game is a week tonight in Hamilton. For Burris hands it off straight ahead. Joffrey Reynolds. And Maurice Lloyd is there.
Mentioned what Joffrey Reynolds did on Monday, and that's really where they won the game. It wasn't that Joffrey Reynolds was ripping off big runs, 20, 30, 40-yarders. It was the 8 he was getting. It was the, he ended up with 116, but it was the consistency as he was hitting that line. You could see the intensity and how he wasn't getting hit till he was into the linebacking core and sometimes even the secondary.
Second down, Burris. Rick Peach was putting on pressure, and the pass falls incomplete. Looking for Thelwell on the sidelines, and the Eskimos get a 2-and-out.
Good patience there by Greg Peach to step up the field in containment, but not go for the sack. Just force it to be a little bit tougher on Henry Burris by his position. And that patience worked well.
One team comes on, and Jamaica Rector has dropped back in place of Tristan Jackson. I don't know if we've seen Rector on a punt return this year. And Tristan Jackson getting attention at the bench. Nice boot by Dales, and see what Rector can do. Randy Chevrier there, the former Eskimo, brings him down. Tim Johnson, a 6-year NFL vet, leads the defense back on in his element here in the CFL.
Let me tell you something, it's the same football game. It's football. As kids, we play on fields, just as big or smaller, wherever you could play. So to me, it's football. And being the man in the middle, it makes it even more football. The size of the field, the time of the play clock, doesn't matter to me at all. It's just a matter of getting that ball snapped, stopping it, and resetting each play.
He's got linebacker eyes, doesn't he?
Oh, does he ever.
Ray on a roll.
And he's in contain now.
And there is Tim Johnson, who makes the play, dropping Ray at the 31-yard line.
Well, this is what the Calgary coaching staff likes so much about Tim Johnson. He's got that linebacker mentality when it comes to stopping the run. He can bring the hat, but he's also got speed enough to get to the outside, to move on this bigger field, and to be able to contain a quarterback like that. So that's what they like about him. He's got that versatility in his game, but more than anything, it's the attitude he brings to the field.
A physical presence, says John Hufnagel. 2nd and 4. Eskimos trying to run for the first down, and Whitlock stacked up. And looks like he'll be a yard short.
Well, he basically plays 2 games. This will be his 3rd, and Johnson in the first 2 leads the team in tackles. He steps in there, and he's, one thing, he's always around the ball. And it really starts in there. The integrity of the defense begins down the middle. That's where the Dario Romeros line up for the Eskimos. That's where the linebackers like Mo Lloyd or Tim Johnson line up. And if you can break down the middle of the defense, you can compromise its integrity, but that's where those guys have to play the toughest, and that's where it begins. Tim Johnson has been a great addition.
In the 2 previous games before Johnson joined the Stamps, they surrendered 406 yards rushing in 2 games, and in the first 2 with Johnson in the middle, they gave up just 72 yards. So he has made a difference. Pressure on Prefontaine, got it away. On the run, Titus Ryan fumbles it, and the Eskimos have it, and Kai Ellis is going to score. Touchdown, Edmonton. Ryan mishandled one and got a no yards call in the first half. No penalty markers on this play.
Well, you have to love that he attacks the football and tries to catch it in the air. But when he does, he makes it a tough catch. It bounces up off the shoulder pads of an Edmonton Eskimo, and a pretty athletic play in the open field by Kai Ellis.
Looked like that bounced off Bradley Robinson. And on a night where Toronto wins its first at home, an Argo bounce in Edmonton. So Kai Ellis with a huge score on the final play of the third quarter. Prefontaine the extra point, and it's a 14-point Edmonton lead. Third quarter stats are brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
Well, the number that jumps out is 24 for the Edmonton Eskimos. That's the points off the turnovers in their last 6. They didn't have many turnovers during those 6 games, but they had 0 points off of the turnovers they did have, and tonight it has been a very different story.
Well, we know this game is far from over anyway, but I thought maybe Edmonton would be uneasy with the lead through 3 quarters because of missed opportunities, but that play might be decisive.
Tremendously athletic play by Kai Ellis to be able to make the reaction like he did. Tip that ball back to himself and then take it to the house. Showed great speed.
Not his first trip to the end zone. He had a 97-yard interception return for a touchdown last year as a Winnipeg Blue Bomber.
Here's a guy with 3 sacks. He has 3 knockdowns, a knockdown in this game, and then that athletic play on the teams.
And Ryan will try and redeem himself. Trying to get outside, and a marker on the play as he's brought down at the 33.
Let's go back and take one more look at this play because, you know, folks, this is a defensive lineman. I mean, he's a converted. He played some linebacker as well, but clearly no Eskimo inside of 5 yards there.
First down.
And a little tip to himself, a spin, and then watch the acceleration. I mean, there wasn't a Calgary Stampeder that was going to catch him anyway, but he separates.
I think I said Bradley Robinson. That went off T.J. Hill, and Ellis does the rest. And if you joined us in the second half, Titus Ryan misplayed one in the first half, but there was an Eskimo bearing down just inside the no yards area. Not this time. Got a break on the field, so gives us a chance to remind you TSN's coverage of the 2009 U.S. Open continues tomorrow as we bring you the action from center court at Flushing Meadow. Live coverage at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific.
There's a couple of times for Mike Maurer, who has a bit of a reputation when it comes to going down on the teams to give his team a little bit of a break, and the officials may get wise to this as it goes on and call him for delay a game because he walked off, didn't look like he was hurt when he went off the last time. And I'm not sure that he looks like he's really hurt on this one either. The refs can call delay of game there if they feel like you're trying to stop the game deliberately.
And reverse waiting for time to be whistled in. And here we go. Mo Lloyd trying to time up the blitz. Burris gets it away. Teo Johnson's got it. Brought down by Mark Rastelli up at the 49-yard line. The big tight end with a big play for Calgary.
Yeah, similar play to early on in the first quarter where Mark Rastelli got the knockdown. This time Burris throws it to the outside shoulder of Teo Johnson, and there's really no way for Rastelli to get through the big body of Johnson to get there. He's 6'5", 260, running a corner route.
Has a touchdown against Edmonton this season. Burris is a wide open Brett Ralph. Brock, you have to make another catch now, and yards after the catch. Good play by Brett Ralph down the sidelines, and they'll mark him out at the Edmonton 33.
Brett Ralph get to the end zone often as we get down close. This is a good play and good second effort for Ralph. 4 of his 11 career touchdowns have been against the Edmonton Eskimos.
Shook the tackle of Kelly Malvo. Brought down by Bobby Keys. Gain of 29. Stamps aren't going away. Reynolds and Mo Lloyd. Check that, Rod Davis that time.
Handoff goes to 21, Joffrey Reynolds. He gets 2.
As the Eskimos go to their 3-4 alignment.
Henry Burris really doesn't have to change and deviate from the game plan all that much here. He's got a lot of time. That's why you're still seeing Joffrey Reynolds involved.
They've won 3 of the last 4 Labor Day rematches. Last year, 38-33. They came from behind in that one. There's Mr. Copeland's in another area code, and
yeah. And I think
that one's offside.
I think, Chris, that Burris wanted to stop it and audible at the line. It looked like he might have wanted to change the play.
Offside, Calgary number 80. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Because it looked like by Jermaine Copeland's waggle or run to the line, and here he's right in the middle of your screen here. You see him there as he goes by. Now he's way offside. I think Henry Burris, because you see Nick Lewis at the top, he also jumped. He wanted to stop and then replay and call a play on the line.
That only prompts the fans to make more noise. Second and long. And Chambers can't hold on. He heard footsteps with Kelly Malvo bearing down.
Timing a little off here, and it puts a little more pressure. A little more pressure on Chambers here on the outside. He's going to be the guy that kind of just dies out by the sideline out here. Malvo has to drop deep, and then he'll break. But because the throw was a little bit late, it gave Malvo time, and Chambers had to catch that the first time because of it, and didn't.
So DeAngelis sets up from 42 yards out. On 3rd and 13, if you're wondering if anything's on. Down by 14 points. Again, the season series points do come into effect, and DeAngelis has missed this. Just missing to the right, and a knee will be put down by Rector. And now it's a 13-point Edmonton lead. Back at Commonwealth, let's join Jermaine Franklin.
Thanks, Chris. Tristan Jackson was spending half the third quarter getting his right knee worked on, and it looks like he's done for the night. It's already iced. He took his pads off. Now, when I asked him what exactly happened, he said he has no idea. But what we do know is he's not back on the field.
Thank you, Jermaine. That would be a serious blow. What a weapon he is. It's unbelievable. Ricky Ray's looking for his first completion, and there it is, of the second half. Maurice Mann with the hitch up to the 41-yard line, and here they are with 34 points on the night, and Ricky Ray has less than 125 yards passing and 1 completion in the second half.
Well, he has to get back to that patience that he showed in the first half and hit some of those underneath routes like he just did to Maurice Mann.
Second and 3 as they use a lot of the clock. And that one into traffic, incomplete as Calgary turned up the heat.
They really did. They overloaded the right side of the formation, put Calvin Armstrong in a bit of a bind over there. And Chris Jones this time, you see, he has 1-2 with Lysak out on the outside. And so that's really overloaded. They're both coming off the edge, he and Malik Jackson. So that puts all kinds of problems for Ricky Ray.
So Chris Jones's defense has stiffened. Special teams an issue in the second half. The fumble for a touchdown by Ryan and a missed field goal by DeAngelis. And off the side of Prefontaine's foot, but a good bounce. And it got by Ryan. And he's just going to eat the football back at the 17. It's been a long night for the rookie. Wendy's CFL on TSN Friday Night Football is brought to you in part by Wendy's Baconator, the official hamburger of the CFL. It's way delicious. It's Wendy's. And by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right since 1939. Still lots of time, Glenn Sutter.
No question.
Henry Burris with 121 yards passing in the second half, and they'll add to the totals here. Ryan Thelwell a first down, up to the 37.
Oh, and Maurice Lloyd and Jesse Newman, I believe, were just exchanging haymakers after this play was over. Maurice Lloyd in the middle of your screen. He came up and was working on Demetrius Supas. Now Ryan Thelwell gets a big gain on first down here. And then the fist started flying. I don't see any flags though.
No, and the Stampeders go no huddle. Newman with a menacing look. Jeff Belon was barking and Mo Lloyd was answering back. It's a 20-yard Thelwell grab. And a first down for the Stamps. Burris, he's got Nick Lewis, another first down. Good tackle there by Lenny Williams, but it is a Calgary first down at the 49.
One of the fundamentals that Henry Burris does so well when it comes to throwing the football is, even in a game like this, it's tight, he's trying to come back, his fundamentals remain intact. Watch how after the fake here, he gets the ball up high and ready in the throw position so he can just get rid of it in a hurry. He's not getting sloppy in the fundamentals. That's a good sign, Calgary fans.
Looking for Teo Johnson again, and he's got him. Johnson down to the Edmonton 30.
Tim St. Pierre gets the rare opportunity to get in the game here, and he's the guy who ends up getting matched up on Teo Johnson. Henry Burris this time, again, the little things. He looks off any possible help for Tim St. Pierre from the safety initially, and then drops it over the shoulder of Johnson.
So many weapons, and the big tight end at 6'5", 260. Been valuable tonight, 28 there. And now Burris guns downfield, and again, Copeland punished on the play. Elliot Richardson, the safety. There he is, that big window, and another big catch for Copeland.
This time it wasn't in a one-on-one, it was in a zone. That's why Copeland knew he was going to get hit. Meanwhile, back on the line of scrimmage, fight's going
Major
again.
Foul. Unnecessary roughness, Edmonton number 93. We'll go up half the distance to the goal from the end of the play. First down.
Kai Ellis. And it's marched closer to the Edmonton goal line.
Jermaine Copeland is going to go past Lenny Williams here, and right there he realizes it's zone because he drops him off. So now he knows he's going to get hit. He's in the middle, but you see how he takes that ball and puts it away from the contact in his left arm. And meanwhile, back at the line of scrimmage, Kai Ellis was swinging the fist.
24 yards, and now the penalty brings it down inside the 5. First and goal. They go two back, Reynolds and Cornish. And Burris with the fade to the end zone, broken up Lenny Williams on a nice defensive play against Nick Lewis.
Yeah, it was, and this is a guy early on, Lenny Williams, who had the pass interference call that set up a touchdown. He's recovered from that because his timing on this, there's Lewis right there. He's going to end up running the corner route. The timing on this is perfect from Lenny Williams. I also want to show you what he did. He's going to read the body language from Nick Lewis. When Nick Lewis turns and puts his hands up, that's when Lenny Williams stabs at the football. Perfect timing.
Second and goal from the 4. Cornish and Reynolds again. And it's Burris keeping. Touchdown! Henry Burris into the end zone.
Boy, who do you cover? If you're the Edmonton defense down here and you've got a three-pronged running attack in the option. You've got John Cornish to the left of Burris. There's Joffrey Reynolds to the right of Burris. He gets the first fake. Now they're attacking the edge with Burris and John Cornish. A little fake there to Cornish. And Burris keeps and goes in.
6 plays, 93 yards, and they did it quickly. to get right back in the game. And now DeAngelis to make it a 6-point Edmonton advantage. He does. Far from done. 34-28. Eskimos. Tonight's game story brought to you by Molson Canadian. This is our beer.
A big one for the Edmonton Eskimos. Not only are they getting turnovers finally, but they're scoring off those turnovers as well. 24 points off turnovers. They outscored the Stamps 23 in the third. Although their offense is bogged down a little bit. Turnover troubles for Burris and 3 interceptions. But it's awful tough to beat the same team back-to-back, especially Labor Day and the Labor Day rematch.
Game is on, though. Here's Rector on the return. Broke a couple tackles and then drilled by Mark Calise, the Labor Day special teams demon. And Ricky Ray's got to get something going in the second half or this lead will disappear.
Yeah, he does. He's got to get his defense a rest because look at the dominance from Henry Burris in the second half. 9 of 16, over 200 yards in one half. He does have the interception issues, but 1 for 6 for 7 yards for Ricky Ray.
In about 23 minutes, and I don't remember a Ricky Ray stretch quite like that. Nursing a 6-point advantage. Thanks to Whitlock, and he'll take off, and he's got enough for a first down and a head-first dive close to midfield.
First thing, and I want to go back to quarterback fundamentals because watch how Ray here is going to be patient on the fake and wait till the defense commits. Patient there, and then he pulls it, and now look at how much room he has to run. Tons of real estate ahead of him. Everybody has their back turned, and Ricky Ray can pretty much pick and choose where he wants to go. Big gainer on first down.
Trying to make it a 2-score game. 20-yard run, first down at the 54. Quick hitter, open man, and Peterson has it. And he'll get gang tackled. Well, you think back to that touchdown drop by the usually reliable Kamau Peterson.
Well, and he hasn't seen the ball since. They tried to go right back to him right after he dropped that touchdown pass. And a busted coverage by the Calgary Stampeders could have been a real game changer for Edmonton early on here. This is it. He had Kamau Peterson wide open in the end zone. He dropped that one. They went back to him right after. It was almost intercepted, and then he hadn't seen the ball since until that throw right here.
That catch, a first down, and Edmonton getting close to field goal range at the Calgary 45. Stamps was in the backfield, now motions right side. And Ray, nobody home early. And now he's running for his life. And Jim Davis has him. Jim Davis with another big play against his old team. They're not in field goal range anymore. Third sack of the night for number 99.
Well, and Ricky Ray knows it's his mistake because by the time he turns the second time, now he's got to be thinking to throw it away. Save the loss, and all he has to do is get it across the line of scrimmage, but he waits way too long, and finally, Jim Davis gets there.
Loss of 19. So Kevin Strasser digs into the playbook and looks for a 2nd and 29 call. Well, they may get a free play. Odell Willis jumped. Archie Whitlock. And Odell Willis will pull him down, and they'll move it 5 yards forward. As the defensive end moved too quickly.
Well, they'll take the penalty here, and then they'll get down over again. Odell Willis realized he was offside, but he didn't quit.
Offside, Calgary number 98. 5-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
Willis, who's gotten quiet after a tremendous start.
Yeah, he really has.
No sacks in his last 4.
All 6 of his sacks the beginning of the season, the first 5 games.
So the playbook opens up at 2nd and 24. And a draw to Whitlock across midfield. And, well, are they in field goal range at the 46, or do you punt and pin?
You know, we have not seen as many long field goals. I think coaches are just as soon punting the football here and trying to at least force the Calgary Stampeders, if you're Richie Hall, to drive the length of the field.
Yeah, that's what the Eskimo coach has elected to do. And Ryan on a one hop, decent return. Check that, Marcus Howell back to return that time. And the Winnipeg native does a nice job. There is a penalty marker, however, on the play.
You know, Titus Ryan was having some issues on the teams in this game tonight, and all of a sudden Marcus Howell goes back. He's got very sure and reliable hands, and a veteran that makes good decisions.
Face mask, Edmonton number 93. We'll go up 15 yards from the end of the play. First down, Calgary.
Good return by Howell, 15 on this face mask, and suddenly the field a little shorter.
Well, they called Kai Ellis. Howell breaks a tackle there. There's 93 across the face, and yeah, actually did grab it and pull it.
So only 3 yards the net for the Eskimos on the punt. Pressure on Burris. Lloyd cuts him off at the pass, and he has to step out at the 40. It'll be a loss of 4. And Lloyd into the bench.
Tremendous pursuit by 2 players there for Edmonton, both Maurice Lloyd, who's probably a little tired after missing a few games. He's right here in the middle of your screen, and also show you Kai Ellis. He just got the penalty on the face mask, and watch how hard he's trying to make amends. Comes off the edge there. Mo Lloyd also engaged, and then they both just hustle and get on their horse, so to speak, to run down Henry Burris.
Rod Davis in at middle linebackers. Mo Lloyd will take at least this play off. Should be the final play before the 3-minute warning. 2nd and 14, and this one falls incomplete. TJ Hill, closest man to the ball. Be 3rd down Calgary when we come back. And a reminder, the CFL on TSN continues Sunday, big doubleheader. It's the BC Lions in Montreal to face the Alouettes. And then it's the Banjo Bowl, the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Looking forward to a visit to Canada Stadium on this coming Sunday.
Big game. West Division, 3 teams tied at 5 and 4, depending on the outcome of this one. Toronto Argonauts get back in the fight in the East with a win prior to this game tonight.
High kick from Dales to make a Rector in for Tristan Jackson. And he can't get to the corner. John Cornish prevented that. A 49-yard boot by Dales. And now the Eskimos, 6-point lead, 2:18 on the clock. And Kevin Strasser would like to keep it out of the hands of Henry Burris and make it a 2-score game.
Yeah, and this is where he'll earn his money, and so will the starting quarterback, Ricky Ray. If they can put together a drive here, they could basically end this game. Lots of changes in Edmonton in the short week when you consider change at the offensive coordinator spot. Kitwana Jones released and signs in Saskatchewan. The Edmonton Eskimos, good pushback after Labor Day.
Archie Whitlock. Johnson the tackle. Ball popped loose. Robidet on it. And they're ruling the whistle had blown. This will be the lowest passing total of the season for Ray in a full game. He had 166 and was hooked against the BC Lions in the lone Edmonton loss here at Commonwealth, but 132 tonight. And we have 2 minutes to play. And a big second down. 2nd and 5. Calgary wants the football back. Over the middle. And Whitlock lost his footing. Looks like he has enough for the first down.
Edmonton Eskimos don't go with their normal 5 receiver set in 2nd and medium there. They went with 2 backs, Matthew Bertrand and Archie Whitlock, and then released them both out of the backfield. It gave Ricky Ray not just one option to dump it off, but 2.
One advantage the Eskimos have. Calgary lost their timeout here in the second half on the unsuccessful challenge of the Tristan Jackson return. Whitlock again. And dropped at the 37-yard line as the clock is about to roll again.
Another different look, as we showed you Kevin Strasser before this drive began. As now Edmonton on that last play went with a tight end set.
Timeout, Calgary.
Calgary does get their timeout. They didn't use one in the first half.
And Strasser now is looking at 2nd and 6 or 7. On 2nd and 21 or 2, he ran draw play. He likes to be unpredictable. What will Chris Jones come with? In this case, when you think of last year, defensive coordinator was a tremendous amount of blitz and bump and run coverage.
So because Calgary didn't use a first half challenge, they do get one free one. So excuse me, and that's a valuable timeout. A little disarray here as Tim Johnson scampered along with Alain Kashema to the sidelines just in time. 2nd and 6. Big rush. Jim Davis again off the edge with the knockdown. What a night for 99.
Well, he gets some help here too from Wes Lysak just by alignment, because Lysak's going to eat up the block of Joe McGrath, the tackle. Here's Lysak right here, and there's McGrath, Davis on the outside. So now you can see that McGrath has to make a choice. He's going to take the inside man first. That's why Davis is allowed to get clean off the edge. He gets his hands up, and he's made a few plays tonight.
46,000 plus here at Commonwealth. They're pretty quiet right now. Uneasy. Marcus Howell. Little bobble there, and he's brought down immediately. That's great. Downfield cover by the safety, Elliot Richardson. And here we go. 71 seconds on the clock. Henry Burris, George Cortez had their hearts broken here in August by a late Fred Stamps touchdown. Do they turn the tables tonight? And will payback be sweet if Calgary can do the same?
It's that time of year, isn't it? Labor Day rematches. Toronto, Hamilton go to overtime. Edmonton, Calgary, just over a minute left. Burris has the ball.
You saying we should play every 4 days? Now they're noisy. Henry looking big. Looking for Brett Ralph, and he's got it. He got behind Kelly Malvo to the Edmonton 45.
Oh, I love the pocket presence first of Henry Burris to be able to just stay cool and calm. The Edmonton Eskimos show a lot of people up front, then they drop out. So he realizes that. He has a little more time. Good pocket presence to step up a little bit. And Brett Ralph comes back to the football.
The offense leads in 10 categories in the CFL. The Edmonton defense is last in 17. Now they got to come up with a stop. Burris has Copeland to the 20. Just like that, a 41-yarder to Brett Ralph and a dart to Jermaine Copeland that covers 24.
Oh, and what a throw by Burris, because Copeland's going to go in behind again on Lenny Williams, who drops him. It's a zone. The guy who dropped deep and was almost in the throwing lane was Rod Davis, but Burris drops it over his hands and into the hands of Copeland.
Clock running, and Calgary paid the price for scoring too quick before. Teo Johnson wrapped up by TJ Hill.
Maurice Lloyd goes on the blitz here, so that allows TJ Hill. He knows because of that he could fly out to this play to Teo Johnson and make a good tackle in the open field.
In 3-down territory, Eric Taylor comes out. Tim St. Pierre checks in. 2nd and 8. Burris to the goal line. Flag down. Touchdown. Jermaine Copeland.
Unreal.
With 22 seconds left, even with the pass interference flag, Copeland brings it in, and Burris delivers.
What a drive by Henry Burris. Brett Ralph on a deep pass.
Edmonton number 9. That penalty's declined. Touchdown.
And back-to-back throws to Copeland, and look at that catch with coverage all over him.
2nd of the game, 11th of the year, league leading 11th.
The man is in the zone.
Everybody can't do that, man. That's the way to bounce back, baby.
Now, did they leave enough time on the clock?
Copeland in the middle of your screen is covered. Lenny Williams is all over him.
After the touchdown, we'll have a major foul. Edmonton number 47 will apply that 15-yard penalty on the kickoff.
Now that is a costly, costly penalty. On the kickoff with 22 seconds left. We saw what Edmonton did back in August in a matter of seconds, and that'll be a deeper hole that Maurice Lloyd has provided his team. You ever seen a receiver in this league that's better in tight coverage?
Well, I don't think I've ever seen Jermaine Copeland better than he is this year. And he's had some big, big years.
And people have been trying to write him off for a couple of seasons. This to take the lead. And DeAngelis puts it through. Stunning turn of events here. But you felt like it wasn't done even when Edmonton went out to a 14-point lead in the 4th quarter.
Just, to me, the composure of Henry Burris throughout this entire drive, with being behind in this game, the trust that he has with his receiver and Jermaine Copeland when they get down to that goal line, and there is not a receiver in the game right now that's playing with more confidence than Jermaine Copeland. If it's in his area code, he's coming up with it.
4 plays, 85 yards. Couple of Copeland catches on the drive.
I saw the one, the second. Just completely.
Yeah, it's coming through. He's going like this and just letting me go.
And George Cortez admiring his work and the work of this explosive offense, as Burris is just under 400 yards passing on the night.
Now 22 seconds. Calgary Stampeders could go a couple of ways here. They could try and drill it deep in normal kickoff, or could try and squib it.
And they may want to squib, because the Eskimos might be wise if it got to the end zone to concede a single. That won't hurt. But again, the Mo Lloyd penalty creates this field position disadvantage. DeAngelis trying to keep it in play, and does. Good kickoff. And not a good return yet. Maybe no. Rector made it interesting. And now 14 seconds left.
Well, plays like this, you've got about 2 plays left, maybe 3. But if it depends on Ricky Ray what he wants to try and do here. If he wants to try a timing route to try and squeeze 3 plays in, he could try a timing route to the outside, get out of bounds immediately. If he's not going to go that way, then he needs a big chunk, which means he's going to have to run around a little bit and buy some time. See if he can make a play by extending this one a little bit longer.
He's about 30 yards away. 3-man rush. A lot of people deep. Underneath. Trying to get to the sidelines, and does he get out? And not much there anyway for Jamaica Rector.
Yeah, and this was sort of right in the middle of both those options. I mean, if you're going to throw it underneath like that, you want to get it to the sideline and out of bounds immediately. If you're going to go deep on a three-man rush, then Ray had to kind of run around, buy some time, and then hope that one of his guys gets open down the field.
Suits, there's 6 seconds left, which was the amount of time Calgary had back in August when they actually completed a play to get into field goal range. And remember, Copeland didn't go down. He tried to lateral it, and had he gone down and been marked down, there would have been 1 second left for a field goal. So there is time, but the execution has to be perfect.
Henry Burris, 870 yards in 2 games in Commonwealth Stadium in 09.
It's not bad work. Comes down to this. They need at least 25, and it has to happen quick. They go deep, jump ball, and it's caught. It's caught, flipped over, live football, and Calgary comes up with the ball, and Wes Lysak is going to end it. Just another wild night between Edmonton and Calgary, and somehow the Stamps are going to leave with a sweep.
Ricky Ray throws it up. It bounces around, and then the Edmonton Eskimos try and do that lateral. They try for the miracle. There's Kamal Peterson. He tries to pitch it outside. Fred Stamps kicks it around, and Lysak ends it.
Well, now time for the Friday Night Gladiator, brought to you by Movado.
Well, Jim Davis, there's not been a closer runner-up than Jim Davis in this game. But this is a guy that could have won it over the last couple of weeks, and how tough he's played and how clutch he has been. There's not a receiver in this league playing with more confidence. He took some big hits throughout this game, and what a clutch catch with coverage all over him. Jermaine Copeland, congratulations, you're our Gladiator.
Friday Night Gladiator brought to you by Movado. The Movado 800 series, all about the art of performance where serious sports function meets power design. And Jermaine Copeland, tonight's Friday Night Gladiator, receives that Movado series 800 watch. A crushing loss for an Eskimo team that thought they had this one in control. But John Hufnagel and the Stampeders roar back on a big night for Henry Burris. 35-34. The Stamps move into first in the West as we join Dave Randor.